It's OK Football's Champ Chat, where we discuss what's been going on in the Championship this week, rounding up everything from the greatest league in the world. And I think we can agree it's the greatest league in the world.
100%.
Yeah, much miles better than the Premier League.
100%.
Yeah,
yeah. I don't know how much more I can agree.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
definitely.
I agree so much.
It's definitely. But the problem is, we all want to get out of it, don't we? we just want to go that way rather than that way. That's what we're all.
I don't want to go to the
after.
Premier League. I just want a mid-table mediocrity, a Bristol City season, as it were. You know.
Chalk that one up straight away. Yeah. A little dig at Bristol City.
Right away, you know. I don't know how they're, even troubling the playoffs. So don't worry, they'll regress to the mean. Bristol City, just in case the admin's watching. I doubt they will. Right. So let's kick this off talking about a proper humdinger that's going to be happening at the top of the Championship. Leeds versus Sunderland. That's happening Monday night. So this will be coming out Sunday. What are your thoughts about that one?
I think that is obviously it's huge. I think it's one of those ones where I perceive it as a must-win for Sunderland to keep in touch, and I feel like it's a situation where Leeds, if they don't lose, they'll be fine. I think that Leeds, though, at Ellen Road will, truth be told, they'll be too much for them. I think that they have been ridiculously good over the last few weeks, and I think that having seen Sunderland midweek when they dismantled Luton pretty easily,
well, they didn't even get out of second gear.
Yeah, they didn't. They completely saved energy for this game, so they just didn't really need to do anything.
But they benefited from the fact that Luton Town were that bad. Like
dreadful.
The first goal, problems at right back. Mm-hmm. The second goal where Fanny, who wasn't even Luton's
wasn't even in the squad yesterday.
Ball got tangled up in his feet. He passed, threaded Isidore right through.
Yeah,
Leeds will not give them that.
No.
Because Leeds are so solid at the back.
Yeah, they're so solid at the back, and they are brutal going forward. I mean, the form of Dan James is frightening. I mean, I've had my own thoughts on Dan James over the course of the years, and it's one of those situations. He's one of those ones where we've spoken about things like this on the podcast before, where if he's your own, I think you tend to love him because he's that sort of ratty, sort of annoying player. But when he's not yours, you kind of go, "Oh, Dan James." But he's like this season, he's gone from being an annoying player to a very, very good player that's finding the back of the net, finding the assists. Leeds' goal-scoring prowess is unrivaled. I think they're one of the highest scoring teams, if not the highest scoring team in Europe. So they are absolutely flying. And I just can't see a way where Leeds actually lose the game. But ultimately, these things happen. Sunderland have got to go for it, and I think that they will go for it. I think the situation dictates they're going to have to go for it. So it might be a tight, cagey one, and then you might see Sunderland open up in the last sort of 15, 20 minutes and go for the win if there hasn't already been a goal. But the worry they'll have is that if Leeds score one and they've got to chase the game, they could easily end up scoring 3-0. And I think I said to you off air that I feel like if Leeds have a week this week where they beat Sunderland and if they beat Sheffield United, I think that'll be them up. I know that people say no, Leeds will bottle jobs, this, that, or the other, but I just don't see it. It's a Daniel Farke Leeds, and that's the big difference. Farke has got out of this league before. And I properly rate that guy as a fantastic football manager.
It's not the most exciting football.
No.
But he has the players that allow them to play exciting football.
Yeah.
This doesn't diminish Sunderland at all. And
no.
Their achievements, they were like lower mid-table last season, weren't they?
Yeah.
And they've done tremendously well. They're a fantastic team. And I do think, regardless of what happens in this game, I don't think they have enough to trouble the top two, because you have Leeds that are just fantastic, the best team in the league by miles. Sheffield United, who have a ridiculous team, but sort of don't have the performances to match. They've only had like a handful of good performances that have been worthy of wins. Otherwise, they just scrape the wins. But that's what you want from a promotion team. Exactly. And then you have Sunderland, who are a very good team, and I can see them falling into the playoffs. Not falling into the playoffs. They are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They will be the team to beat in the playoffs. And the reason why I think Sunderland will go up through the playoffs is because then you have teams like Burnley.
Yeah.
And Burnley do not take their chances. And that's typified by the game against Preston yesterday, the 0-0.
Yeah.
And Lyle Foster, what is he doing?
Well, the thing is, I remember I was watching the first half before I set off for Kenilworth Road yesterday, right? And I remember it was Jadon Anthony. He had the ball on the edge of the area, and all he needed to do was look up and pass left to Lyle Foster. He was right there. He was only about 12 yards out from goal.
Well, probably didn't want to pass it to Lyle Foster.
Well, this is the thing. But this is before then.
Oh, what was it before?
This is before. And I remember thinking, I'm going to go on the show tomorrow morning. If they don't win, I'm going to lambast Jadon Anthony for not passing it to Lyle Foster.
And hold my beer.
And then I got home last night, watched the rest of the highlights, and the second half was just Lyle Foster missing. Yeah. Every opportunity, and it was one of those ones I was like, you can't do that. You just cannot miss that amount of chance. And when you look at Burnley's goal difference is like plus 30. Bearing in mind they've only conceded 9. Yeah, they're 10 clean sheets in a row, I think it is. Setting records left, right, and centre for not being able to concede. 11 in a row now. Is it 11 in a row? Sorry, my mistake. But and some of the defending, there was a shot yesterday in the first half where Osmajic was straight through, and Egan Riley was like, it was pure determination to stop that goal going in, and that is just it's a real wonder to see in today's day and age of attacking football. But going back to the point about where the goal difference is, they just do not score enough goals. And if you've got Lyle Foster that's leading your line, he's missing chances like that, you've got to be worried from Burnley's position, because you're thinking, if we don't keep on getting these 1-0s, like we can always keep a 0, but we need to be picking up loads of points. And
like they'll be tough to beat in the playoffs.
They will be.
I don't see them winning the playoffs because they don't have enough about them.
That's it. The firepower, like being able to bring people off. I mean, their bench yesterday was ridiculously talented, but
they bring on Marcus Edwards. I thought Marcus Edwards would just walk into that team, and he would be the one that could sort of get them scoring.
I mean, he nearly won a penalty for him yesterday at the very, very end. And my personal opinion is that as he moved the ball. And it happened to hit the defender's leg, and I personally think it was a penalty. I'll probably get pelters from Preston fans about that, but I personally felt like just because the ball deflected off of the defender's leg doesn't take away the fact that he was fouled as part of that movement. But the other thing as well that I wanted to mention about that game was that it was obviously a derby game up there, and there's been issues up there with those two teams before. I hope that Hannibal's sort of okay. I think that he was obviously... you could see the change in his face from having sort of a bit of back and forth about that you would do, that sort of edginess that you have between professional footballers. But he's obviously... The line has been crossed, and he's doubled down on social media and said that he will not tolerate that. So fair play to him for standing up to it. And if Osmajic has said the things that he said after already biting a player this year...
I think Luis Suarez is his...
He's his spirit animal. Without the goal scoring. Yeah, it's not on. In all seriousness, it's not on if he's done that. So... whether they prove it or not, I don't know. But that's they left a sour taste on that particular match.
It's hard to prove it one way or another. James Trafford has also spoken out about it on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like, there's no place for it in football.
There's no place for it.
James Trafford is adamant, and regardless of what we think of James Trafford as a person, tremendous goalkeeper.
Yeah.
It's a big accusation to level at someone.
Yeah, it is.
So there must be some truth in it.
Yeah.
But look, it's all alleged at the moment.
We have to be careful about that. Yeah, exactly.
But fair play, Preston. Defended like absolute troopers.
Yeah,
we're spending a lot of time on this one.
Yeah. I mean, and bearing in mind they've bought Ryan Porteous, who's a car crash of a footballer. I can't stand him. He did have a great game. I'm only saying that as a wind-up. I can't stand the guy, but
I think he just fails to turn up at Luton, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, he was lucky not to score an own goal yesterday, but ultimately he's a proper defender, isn't he? And it was interesting actually. If we move on to Watford, that they didn't have Porteous or Pollock yesterday at centre-back, and they won 1-0 away.
But come on, Middlesbrough have reverted back to how they were at the beginning of the season, where you could literally play the Benny Hill theme tune over them having goes. And like at the beginning of the season, it was Latte Laugh having chance after chance after chance, just like missing the target, ballooning them over the bar. Now they're hitting the post, they can't get the shots off.
The Giles effect. It's not all down to him, but I just like to have a little bit of needle in there.
Play, but that header from Sissoko and the amount of stick he has been getting from the Watford fan base. I say he's a donkey, he's finished, and I don't care about it in any way, like from an unbiased point of view. But what a bullet header!
Absolute bullet header. And another player that I'm going to try and do it justice as to the pronunciation of his name, Chak Fatadze.
Chak Fatadze, he smashed
now,
it.
He is a player.
He is.
He's a proper player, and he was playing from the left-hand side yesterday for Watford. Every single time he got the ball, he looked dangerous, and he's looked like a good player the whole season. Very, very dangerous moving forward. He just sort of glides past people. But I just thought I'd mention it because I don't want to come across like I'm being anti sort of Watford or anything like that. But he's a good player, and I think that he'll be if he doesn't go up with Watford, which I don't think will happen if I'm being honest with you, but
he's going to get picked up.
I think he's going to get picked up,
like Espria, like Pedro.
He'll be sort of
footballer.
Heading off to your likes of your Brentfords.
He'll be going to Udinese.
Or Udinese. Yeah, he could be part of that whole sort of.
Going to Udinese.
Yeah, he could be going there. But if in terms of like Premier League, he could be going. I reckon he'd be good enough to go into that sort of like that 10th to sort of 14th, 15th bracket. Yeah. Like your West Hams, Brentfords, Crystal Palace, Brightons, those sort of teams. I think he's good enough for that. He's a good player.
He is. It's worrying times for Middlesbrough because
they were booed off.
They're on a horrendous run of form at the moment, and could they be slipping out of the playoff picture with other teams sort of picking up? And we'll talk about Coventry in a minute, who are
flying.
We backed them at the beginning of the season to make the playoffs.
Yeah. We did, but then we lambasted them at the start of the season as well. But you're right.
No, we didn't lambast.
We didn't lambast them. We couldn't understand it. We couldn't understand it.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like because we all were in agreement.
Yeah.
And in the pod that never was, we were saying how they have one of the best squads in the league, and we were all just so confused by what's going on at Coventry.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and now they've got B.A. Baracus up front. So have you seen? Have you seen Sims' haircut? It looks like what in the 18 movie where the new B.A. Baracus is like, I don't want to be violent no more. He's like that.
It's like Rampage. Does Rampage Jackson? I think.
Absolutely brilliant.
Looks like I like him.
Yeah, but he could have had a hat trick yesterday. I felt like the goal that was disallowed was soft.
Come on, but we got to talk about Beadle. You think that was soft?
I mean, I don't think that was a Stonewall foul. I feel like he went down, and because I think that
I think there were a few things that got the goal chalked off.
The fact that he was holding his face afterwards.
He led in with both of his feet, okay, and then I think the ball ricocheted off his elbow.
Right.
To get it moving towards goal. I watched it back a couple of times. Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
I was thinking, I was thinking because goalkeepers do get too much protection.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was a bit.
If it was a valid one, I'll take it back. But it just felt like it was a bit soft.
I don't think that is the reason that the ref disallowed the goal, the arm. I reckon it was because of the two-footed before. But it was a 50-50 ball.
I feel like that was. Yeah. I mean, he ultimately Sims got the last laugh because Beadle decided.
Beadle's about.
I mean, I know that the ball went high, but if you got a pair of football gloves and you're a goalkeeper, you catch it. Even if you have to, like, he tried to take it up here. He could have even taken it down here. There was no pressure on him at that particular point, and he's cost his team a point away from home. So he'll be feeling pretty rotten about that. But he should be. Yeah, he should be. That's a proper Rick.
An absolute, absolute disaster class there, and and that sealed the win. And I think when I saw it last night, I actually messaged you.
Yeah.
I was like, I've just seen Coventry's winner.
You did.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What a mayor. Because I rate James Beadle. I think he's on loan at Sheffield Wednesday from Brighton, maybe. Right. He's a handy goalkeeper. And I always remember from your opposition view where you met with Wednesday Till I Die. And they said, Beadle, he kind of looks very weird because he's like all arms and legs.
Yeah.
But he's a good goalkeeper.
And we've spoken about him on this podcast before. Yeah. About how good he is. I actually said about watch out because Beadle's about before. Made a really bad joke about it. But he's been good this season, and so I think when the dust settles, Wednesday fans will know that he's probably been worth more points than he's lost over the course of the season. But it will hurt, that one.
He's not a full Horvath.
No, he's not a Horvath. No.
And there have been some other absolute car crash goalkeepers as well. But I think Sheffield Wednesday, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Coventry, I think, will. And fair play Lampard. Again.
Absolutely.
I still don't rate him.
So
I like to see him do it with a squad that isn't so loaded up with talent, because that Coventry squad, they were performing way below where they should be. It's a ridiculous squad. Yeah. And Ellis Sims, brilliant. Is Hadji Wright still out? I think he
must be. He must be. But
he walked back into that team.
He does.
Still is absolute ridiculous.
It's like I say, to give Lampard credit, like he's getting a tune out of a squad that Mark Robins couldn't. And but Mark Robins, if we were right to move on to Stoke, that's goal of the day by an absolute mile. Lewis Baker, ridiculous. What a goal! Like the fade on it in the last few yards to get it inside the post was absolutely brilliant.
The technique to hit that the way he did.
Yeah. I mean, we've already seen Josh Windass score from way beyond the halfway.
This was better than Windass's.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shout, Ollie.
I don't know, wasn't it?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they were both hit sweet as a nut. They were absolutely both brilliant. Windass's, I think, was a bit further out, and his didn't hit the floor. I mean, his was all net. I mean, it was, and I'm not saying that Baker's wasn't, but I don't know. They're both brilliant goals. Maybe we could put a vote up on social media somewhere. Whose goal was better?
Let us know in the comments whose goal was better. Was it Lewis Baker's or Josh Windass?
Because they were both worldies, worldies. But yeah, Stoke needed that, and it's sort of it's made Swansea fans probably start even more so looking over their shoulders. Because
I've been saying it in the prediction show with Ryman that Swansea are in a relegation battle. Look, they lost Matt Grimes.
Exactly.
Big loss. They've replaced him with Lewis O'Brien, a guy that hasn't played much football for a long time now.
Yeah.
And his last football was played in the US, which is not of the standard of the Championship at all. They haven't got a goal scorer.
No.
Potnick's not good. Like they're amazing up to the final third. They've got no one there. Like they're relying on like crafty midfielders. Matt Grimes is a huge loss for them.
Huge loss, because he was like a metronome, wasn't he?
Oh, he
was a metronome. Everything went through him.
He's up there with Bannon as one of the most technically gifted players in the Championship. He's like bordering on a Championship legend. Really. Their loss, Coventry's gain. Really.
Yeah, big time.
Makes Coventry squad that much better.
It does. Yeah, it does. Yeah. No, I thought, and like for Stoke, they need that. They're in that sort of category of teams at the bottom there that just need every single victory that they possibly can. So to utilise home advantage and get one over one of their now sort of rivals in that bottom.
That's what you've got to win.
Exactly.
You've got to win those games against the teams in and around you.
Exactly. Which is where if we move forward to Pompey, look at their run of form. Like they picked up a 2-0 win yesterday. The first goal was very, very scrappy. But they're getting wins, and the fact that they've won away from home for Pompey, that is rare. Like all of I would argue pretty much all of their good form recently has been at Fratton Park, and you can't say fair.
Been streaky.
It was. Am I right? You may be able to say this or not. Is it Mousinho was from Oxford, wasn't he, before?
Yeah, he played a big chunk of his career at Oxford. So I don't know if he's from.
No,
Oxford,
but did he manage there as well? Was he?
No,
he was just playing there.
I don't think so. Yeah. I think he just played there for a big chunk of his career. I think he was around at the time of Joey Bootchamp. I probably mispronounced that name.
Yeah, there was a clap for him, wasn't there, yesterday, for the anniversary of his passing as well. So that's quite a poignant name to bring up, actually. And like best wishes to Oxford fans and his friends and family for that. It's a shame that they could, from their point of view, that they couldn't get a point on his behalf. Matt Phillips missed a header that it was. You said about Sissoko scoring that header for Watford. Yeah. It was that sort of one where you're like, if he bullets it a yard lower, no keeper's saving it. But I think that would have made it 1-1, so it would have been a very different complexion. But Pompey are pulling away. They're pulling away, and I think that they're showing real grit, real determination, actually some quality up front. But they've got Colby Bishop that's playing alongside Lang. They've got Ritchie. They're doing well. They're doing well.
Take it one game at a time.
One game at a time.
Oxford seem to have gone off the boil now. Like obviously they had that new manager bounce, which lasted.
Yeah, they've
about
done
10 games.
Well. Yeah.
But I think they've gone off the boil a fair bit recently.
I mean,
but they probably, I don't know if they've done enough to get away from the.
I feel like they need another 10 points. I feel like if they get another three wins and a couple of draws, they'll be fine.
But they put in the yards to climb away from the relegation battle, gives them some breathing space. But their form has really dropped off, and the likes of Mark Harris not.
Yeah,
I mean, he's not firing now after a tremendous start of the season, and they lost Dane Scarlett, and I think Rowett was saying he would look to the free market for a striker. Like
they'll be competing with Arsenal in the Premier League. Who wants Diego Costa?
Yeah, well, I'm thinking more along the lines of like a Kamar Roof, but I know he is currently training with Leighton Orient. Right, I don't know if Kamar Roof.
Kamar Roof was at Oxford originally, wasn't he? Years and years ago. Sure,
it could work, but he's currently training with another team.
I mean,
maybe Oxford will get on the blower to him.
Yeah, I mean, the way I see it, they're top of the league that could go down. So I feel like there's a 3-point gap between Oxford and Preston. And as much as I've just said that I feel like they need 10 points, and I feel like they'll be fine. But I think that they are, just from points total alone, they are the team that are at the top of that mini league of, 9 teams. So you've got Oxford, Swansea, Pompey, and Stoke that are sort of sitting on 35 points plus. And then below that, you've got the sort of mini league of 5, where you've got Cardiff, Hull, Derby, Plymouth and Luton, where 3 are going to go down, 2 are going to stay up. So it's going to take some drawing in to get Swansea and Oxford in there. But it's difficult times.
The teams have to start winning their games, really.
They do.
And Plymouth following up that 5-1 dismantling of Millwall.
Yeah.
With a loss to Blackburn, who lost John Eustace. And I didn't have this one pegged as a Blackburn
No,
win.
neither did I.
I thought Plymouth going into it with their tails up after a tremendous performance in the Cup and then that tremendous dismantling of Millwall, I thought they'd give them a bit of a game. But Blackburn looks fantastic.
They did. Really good. Really good.
Especially the Dolan goal.
Oh, great goal. And it
like the build-up was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was very much one of those ones where you give the keeper the eyes. I think everything about... He gave him... I know it's going to sound like an absolute mad comment. He gave him the eyes with his body shape. I feel like everything that was...
Gave him the eyes with his body shape. I'm going to go that way.
Clip that. But everything was sort of going to the right-hand side of the goal, and he sort of played it across himself and gone to the left-hand side of the goal, and that sort of signed the game off, really. I think that was like 78 minutes in or something like that. That just sort of consigned it to Plymouth to defeat. But again, it's another situation where Plymouth away from home are a completely different kettle of fish to what they are at home park. Just want to say to them, absolute fair play for playing the way that they did against Liverpool. And people say that Liverpool didn't play their first team, but they had enough of the first team out for that to be. They were pretty
much only missing Salah.
Otherwise
it was very strong.
Very, very strong team. And absolutely fair play to them. I was watching it on TV thinking, go on, Argyle. Go on. Doing it for the Championship. Go on.
Go on. Congest that fixture schedule a bit more.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm impartial. Obviously, we're very impartial here. We don't care how many games Argyle get in their calendar. Why can't put them back in the League Cup as well? Put them in the Virtue Trophy.
I mean, they went to. I think they've got their reward is an away day to Man City, so they can go and enjoy the empty had, and hopefully they'll do them over as well. Fingers crossed for you, Plymouth. Plymouth are one of those ones where they've had a bit of a revival. They're off the bottom of the league, obviously. We've been replaced by Luton Town, which is interesting for us and upsetting for us. But we had the fortune, in terms of the context of this show, to actually see one of the top 4 up close yesterday.
They weren't very good, were they?
They rested a lot of players. I think that they've got bigger fish to fry, so to speak, in the week when they come up against Leeds. But I wasn't as impressed as I have been by the other guys that have come to play as in the top 4. And there is that caveat of the team selection that they had, and they obviously brought the likes of sort of Burrows on partway through the game. Harmer wasn't playing, O'Hare wasn't playing, but it was a real perfect example of how things go your way when you're at the top of the league. And they had one, maybe two. I think the other chance they had was Brereton Diaz hit the post. But other than that, they didn't really.
That was.
Yeah. But they didn't really make anything other than those 2 opportunities, I would argue. And Luton Town they hit the bar. They had a couple of shots that were not put away by Elijah Adebayo, whose confidence is absolutely shot. And that's the difference, is that you've got a Luton Town side that are now bottom of the league and scraping everything that they possibly can, versus Sheffield United, who have great squad rotation, great squad recruitment. They're chasing the Premier League, and ultimately they got the goal over the line. And it was onside, by the way, for those Luton Town fans. And it was one of those difficult ones to take because there was a crossover run, but it was definitely onside. And what can you say other than fair play? I don't feel like if they play like that in terms of the way that they played, and I know that the personnel does make a big difference, if they play like that, I feel like they can be got at. And what I mean is, I feel like Leeds will run away with it in the grand scheme of things. I think that they'll go up as champions, and then Burnley can't score. Sheffield United aren't playing brilliantly, but they're picking up wins, so that sort of negates my argument about where. And then Sunderland, like I say, they need to hit a run of form. So I still ultimately do think that Sheffield United will get over the line and get up there, but there's improvements to potentially be made. But like I say, we saw a different squad from what they would be targeting bigger games, you know.
Still so good players, though.
Good players, yeah, of course. But it was one of those ones. It was a weird sense of false security because we were watching it and kind of going, they're not that good. Yeah. Like I was expecting to get absolutely pumped. Like I messaged Jimmy from Blades Ramble this week, and I was like, mate, I've got us down for a 4-0 loss after that Sunderland battering. So yeah, it's an interesting one. But ultimately, like I say, they got the 3 points, mate. They got the 3 points.
It opens up the relegation battle. Not that while Luton have Plymouth coming to Kenilworth Road this week, but elsewhere in the relegation battle, Derby went to
that was a
West
dismantling.
London.
I used the word dismantling. That was a dismantling.
I did not have that on my bingo card because I thought Blackburn would struggle, Derby would look better.
Yeah,
it was the complete opposite.
Yeah.
QPR, all the goals were so different as well.
Yeah.
Ilias Chair.
What a goal, by the way! If it wasn't for Lewis Baker, then he was going to be getting goal of the week.
If it wasn't for Ilias Chair, I'd be saying, what a goal.
Yeah.
No, it was tremendous hit.
Yeah. Well, and actually, to be fair, his second goal was good as well. The wing play was really, really good. I apologise, I can't remember the name of the fellow that got the assist, but it was a really good assist to Chair for his second, and then Ronnie Edwards got the fourth one, another thumping header. So it was an absolute battering, and they're a side that, if it wasn't for the fact that they'd just got Eustace, you'd be thinking, well, they've been on the slide for quite some time. I think they had a couple of good results recently where they picked up draws, but yeah, it's going to be hard for him. It's going to be hard for him.
I thought he would have been able to tighten them up immediately.
Yeah. Well, he said that he's got a week now, haven't they? They've not got a week fixture, and I think that he's really looking forward to getting on the training ground and putting his stamp on them. So we'll see how that one pans out. And then the other team that are, of course, down the bottom there are Hull. And they got a point against Norwich, which that's a good point, because as much as Norwich's away form is patchy, to say the least, the fact that Hull look quite good going forward. I think Crooks and Gelhardt.
They're still a bit streaky, though. They can't get that perfect run, really. They can't get consistency. Like, since that crazy 3-0 win against Sheffield United, they lost to Stoke, they lost to Burnley, and now they've drawn to Norwich.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you mentioned last week about how good a signing. I think it was last week or the week before, about how good a signing Matt Crooks is.
It was a tremendous goal, sort of Lampard-esque with the late run into the box. It was tremendous. Yeah.
I thought it was a really, really good goal, and he is one of those players that he's just a good championship level footballer. Yeah. He's got lots of height, lots of strength to him. He's got physicality to be able to be a presence in the box.
Yeah. But he's got the athleticism as well. To get up and down. He affects the game in the opposition half. He's a real tidy footballer, and I was impressed with him way back when he was at Rotherham.
Yeah.
He's one like being, impartial. He's one I would have wanted Luton Town to sign. Mm-hmm. But also the Josh Sargent goal, tremendous. I didn't have him pegged as a headerer of the ball.
Yeah.
Did you see the assist from the squirrel as well?
I did see the squirrel on the side there. Yeah. Squirrel gate. Yeah. That's for Hull. But
the squirrel runs on. Yeah, I think the run sort of pulled the defence out. So Sargent was able to get a free header. It was a good header.
Drew their eye. It was a good header. It was a good header. And that's the thing.
It was a great run from the squirrel as well.
It was just to take the defence.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've spoken a number of times. We've waxed lyrical about Sargent and how important he is for Norwich, and without him yesterday, ultimately they wouldn't have got a point. Borja Sainz was back, and he was sort
quite wasteful.
He was. Yeah. I was a little bit disappointed in him from what I saw of it, but yeah, it's one of those ones where Norwich again they'll have aspirations of going into the playoffs, you know.
Yeah, well, I think with Sargent back, it could happen.
It could happen.
He's scored 5 goals in 6 games since coming back. No, 5 goals in 5 games since coming back. He had a brace against Swansea as well. It's absolutely tremendous. It shows what having a main striker back can do for you. And he's hit the ground running, like upon coming back. Fair play to him. And I think it takes some of the... Borja Sainz was fantastic. He was top scorer for a while. I don't know if Borja Sainz is still
I think
top
he
scorer.
Still is. I think they were saying on the commentary yesterday that he's still top scorer in the league.
That's mad. It shows how good he was at that point, but it sort of takes the pressure off him now.
Yeah. I mean, that you know, we were speaking earlier on relegation-wise about mini-leagues. I think when you look at the mini league from 5th place all the way down to arguably 13th, I think you've got QPR, Norwich, Middlesbrough, Watford, Sheffield Wednesday, Bristol City, Coventry, and West Brom, all within 4 points of each other. All of those people,
it's really tight.
It's really tight,
so
and that
tight.
when they come up against each other, like when we spoke about the relegation, when they play against each other, they're proper mid-table, upper mid-table 6-pointers. I mean, yesterday there was West Brom. They'd have been upset to not take advantage. I mean, they're still in the playoffs. They're in there by a point, but again, they came up against another one in Millwall
from an own goal though.
They did,
and put them ahead. But
and
Jake
it looked
Cooper,
like
game of headers, mate.
Oh,
there have been so many brilliant headers this week.
Yeah, I mean, Jake Cooper is one of those ones where whenever I'm thinking about placing a cheeky £1 bet, I always think, do I just put Jake Cooper to score first? Because he's heads and shoulders in terms of height.
Quite literally, he's a giraffe.
Yeah, he's enormous, and he always seems to score when I don't think about having that thought, which is just the life of a gambler, but which I don't endorse. But yeah, it's one of those ones where I think that ultimately, when I looked at the highlights, I thought that Millwall probably had the better of the game in terms of clear-cut chances. And yeah, it's another one of those ones where just teams in and around themselves are sort of cancelling each other out. So
yeah, do you think Millwall have done enough with that run of 3 consecutive wins to pull themselves away from relegation? I don't think they're
100%.
They're not in with a shout.
Yeah.
But conversely, do you think West Brom have enough, because they've been a bit streaky now? Do you think they have enough to keep hold of that 6th position?
It's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, to be able to predict who's going to get that 5th and 6th place. I mean, Blackburn have obviously got their 3 points ahead, 4 points ahead of that dotted line. I like West Brom. I feel like they've probably got enough strength in their squad to be able to get it done. But I just like Coventry. I just feel like Coventry
they've hit
stealing a march.
The right time now.
Yeah, they need to. If they continue that for the next sort of 7 or 8 games, Coventry, I can see them being firmly planted in that playoff picture. And that's not to say that West Brom can't do it. I think that when you look at the goal difference in particular as well, like they've got a far superior goal difference to those that are below them. In fact, the goal differences, it's amazing how many people are on minus. You've got Sheffield Wednesday, Watford, QPR, all on minus goal differences.
They've all been really streaky. I'll tell you someone who is 100% not getting the 5th or 6th place is Bristol City.
There we go. You're going to bookmark the end of the start and the end of the show with Bristol City.
Yeah, well, I'm a storyteller by trade. So, again, a tremendous header from Jason Knight. I think he's a tidy player. He's not exceptional. He's not a twine, but it was a very tidy header. But at the same time, 90th minute, letting Cardiff.
Yeah,
and it was a good goal.
It was a good goal.
Yeah.
And I'll begrudge it as well, because I want Cardiff to be one of the ones that Luton can catch from a
it's only a point. There's still time to go.
Yeah, there is.
But Cardiff absolutely dominated that game for large periods of it, and the finishing wasn't exact. The shots were mostly straight at the keeper. They weren't testing the keeper. But I think Bristol City were lucky to grab that point and sort of stay in the playoff picture, but I don't think they're going to trouble it. Like, there are teams behind them that just have better form, more quality.
It's just amazing, isn't it, how much of a difference a few minutes can make? Because if you add 2 extra points to Bristol City, they're sitting level with West Brom.
They're level with West Brom.
Yeah, and you're kind of thinking, no, you can't ignore them for playoffs. And I think even when I spoke to Ben, when we spoke to Bristol City fan for our opposition preview, he kind of knew that they sit in that sort of mid-table obscurity sort of thing, and they're desperate. Yeah. They're desperate to break forward from that and break free from the shackles of that mid-table mediocrity. But they shoot themselves in the foot so often. Yesterday was a prime example of peak Bristol City, where they sort of like snatch not actual defeat, but ultimately defeat from the jaws of victory, and they keep doing it season after season. They must be so frustrated.
I just feel they get their recruitment right a lot of the time, but it's about getting those people playing well. They've got Mehmeti, who's a quality player. Twine, quality player. Bird and Knight, both from Derby, who are very good players. And Rob Dickey, great player. Zach Viner, great player. I don't know why they're not better. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah.
And Sam Bell, good striker. Naki Wells, he's ancient now. Ancient, but he knows how to score a goal.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're not better. It's like a couple of years ago when they had Andy Wyman, and he was a tremendous player. But at the same time, I just feel they never get the managerial appointment right. And Liam Manning, I rate Liam Manning, plays very good football. Nigel Pearson was a terrible manager. He was. Bristol City fans were happy with it, but like with the money that they put in, Matthew Bentham's one of the wealthiest men in England. The amount he's put in, they should be so much better than they actually are.
Yeah,
it's mad. It's mad. But hey, fair play to them for being 8th in the league.
Being and we
serious.
don't know. We don't know. They could go on their own streak. But this is the thing, that this mini league of chasing those playoff spots. Anything literally could happen, mate. Anything could happen. Yeah. As much as we think that we know that certain people do this, certain people do that, anything could happen. There's been so many things this season so far that have been a complete shock. So seeing Bristol City get into the playoffs, if it happened, even their own fans will probably
get dumped out in the semis.
So yes.
Bookmark that one, Bristol City admin. But no, it's genuinely what makes it the best league in the world.
It is.
Literally on their day, anyone can beat anyone, apart from when you're Luton Town, in which case you can't beat anyone.
That's true.
Yeah,
that is very true.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
it's a good league. The playoff battle, the relegation battle is excellent. And the promotion battle, there are 4 teams going for 2 spots.
Exactly.
It's all action up and down the league.
Yeah.
It's tremendous.
Exactly.
But that's us.
That's us.
Done. Yeah, every game done. Remember to subscribe if you like Championship content. We do a lot of these, and it's a lot of fun. Down the pub. Obviously, we're missing missing Wedge. But we still had a good time with it. And a big thank you to Black Star Amplification and Carry On for the toys on the table in front of us. And wherever you are in the country, head on down to the record shop in Amersham. If you collect vinyl, mention the OK Football Show, you'll get a cheeky little discount. And big thank you to our host, the Bricklayers Arms. Don't come over on match days if you're not a Luton Town fan, but pop on down for a drink. It's right next to Luton Station. It's a great little pub. Love it. Absolutely love it. But whoever you support, have a great week.
Take care, guys. See ya.